and welcome back to NAB 2025. We are very excited to be here for a second day of having long conversations with the people we love. And one of those people is Timur Sivan, who is a fantastic DP that is now with Great Videomaker as kind of an ambassador, right?
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Timur, I'm originally a DP. You're originally a DP. So let's talk about DP things.
Sure.
Fingers and dots.
Fingers and dots. You got it.
So what I love is that we were having a bit of a pre-conversation, a little pre-chat before we started. And I just remember always wanting to use fingers and dots, which are like tiny little flags and tiny little like nets that you put in front. And they're really like fingers and dots. And they're tiny and they have little, and so when you said that you do like a lot of like product shoots and commercials and stuff, I was like, does he get to finally use the fingers and dots I've always dreamed of?
I do.
And you do. But you also said that you have a different method of lighting. Can you talk about that? Because I think people think product, like me, because I've never done it, can be so challenging because you're like really getting in the nitty gritty of like all of it. But tell me about your like ethos around lighting for that.
I mean, I come from a more traditional narrative background, music videos, films, short films, that sort of thing. And I pushed into commercial work solely like 10, 11 years ago. But I think if you were to like light something the way would it more, I guess we might call it traditional tabletop lighting, fingers and dots.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about small shadows and, making the product, like super perfect. But I think what happens is like, there's an old saying, like, if you can light a face, you can light anything. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
So I kind of approached the product stuff a little bit more from that point of view, where things are a little bit more macro, less micro.
Yeah.
So from a lighting standpoint, like for example, like, if you wanted to create a highlight, the photographers that usually direct the stuff that I have the DP for, like their instinct is to put a card very close to the product to create the reflection. Whereas I'll do something, 8 or 12 feet tall, box it in with black, and then create that from a distance, right? But I feel that gives you a bit more like you had mentioned before, like you're not lighting the object, you're lighting the world.
Yes. Well, you're
so
creating that environmental, like
and
where
it's
would
sort
the
of
product
more
be?
of an environment. And then for me, it's like I guess my style I would say like it's like product stuff. It's a little bit more on the cinematic side in terms of style of lighting, and it just looks a little different. And it's been very successful for me so far. So I'm not gonna break what's not broken.
I love that ethos. That's so fantastic. So tell me as well, what I wanted to learn about was your relationship. So community build. So League of Filmmakers, we're all about education, community building. That's like the two pillars. Whenever anyone comes up and I have to do like a 15-second pitch before they walk away from me, that's what I say. And under League of Filmmakers is like these multiple user groups that all really have those pillars that are key to their mission. One of the things that I love about having you as a guest, not only because it's you and we get to speak a little Turkish together, my 4 words, but is that you have a really wonderful relationship with your vendors that you work with, specifically Great Videomaker, who we just had a lighting workshop with back in LA that we really enjoyed. Tell me about, as a filmmaker, creating relationships that are long lasting and how you do that, but also like how you find those people in this industry, like Great Videomaker.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting. It's like, I've been coming to NAB for about 12, 13 years, and as you meet the vendors and you see the products and, see the offerings, you kind of get a sense of the overall feel of what they make, right? And I run from like a more instinctual, like kind of emotional place, so if I come into a booth and I'm looking at 10 different products and I look at each one and I go, oh, I could use that for that, I could use that for that, I could use that for that. And then you go a little closer and you look at the quality of it, the light quality, do they have a full ecosystem of all the stuff you would need, because it doesn't really do you any good if it's just a bright light with nothing to help shape And so sometimes you just get a feel for something, and or if you really believe in the passion of the people that make it, as far as cameras go, like I'm pretty heavily into the Fuji ecosystem for stills work, and it's actually taken over a lot of my video work too. The new cameras are really great, and it's you can tell that the people that build the camera care, whereas another camera maker, maybe not so much, you know? And so it's the same with lighting, you know, like there are some places that have so many products, but none of them are refined. They don't, you could, you know, you feel like they're just sort of following trends without making it well thought out.
Yeah.
And my relationship with Great Video Maker actually extends way back to rather a long time ago. One of their people that's working with them now, Mark, you know, he's helping develop a pro line and all that. You know, he also has a lighting company, and I've been working with them for, God, I mean, 12, 13 years.
Wow.
You know? And so when he was saying, hey, you should come check this out, we believe in what they make, they believe in what we make, we're making a, you know, a thing. I took a look, and like, it's some really interesting stuff, you know, a different, very different take on things that are already existing, you know? And, you know, we had mentioned before, but when we were talking earlier, you know, I was saying like the way that they work is they're not reinventing wheels that don't need to be reinvented. But if there's some place for improvement, they're improving it.
It's like the quote that's going to go at the beginning of my memoir. You've just made it. You've just written it. Honestly, when you came up to me and we were like, what should we talk about today? What's really important to both of us? And you said that quote, I was like, it's pretty good. That's nice. And it's true. So let's talk about some of the stuff that they have that's new, because it really does kind of, if that's your thesis, it does support your argument, you know? The panel lights that you were just talking about.
Oh, the flatheads.
Yeah. Tell me about this.
Yeah, they're really cool. They took the, you know, almost everybody makes, including GVM, you know, they make that strobe monolight style Cobb LEDs that, you know, you put the beauty dish on, you put a softbox on, everybody makes one, you know, and they're pretty prepackaged and, you know, kind of roughly the same form factor. Everybody knows it. They do their job. They did something interesting. They took it and they reimagined the form factor. You know, it still does all the same stuff. You know, it still has all the basics, you know, the DMX controls, and I think currently they have the bicolor, and with RGB coming very soon. You know, a few variations in power. Right now, I think they're topped at 400 watts, and then it will eventually go up from there, undetermined at the moment.
Seems to just get brighter and brighter every year.
They're getting brighter and brighter.
It's really incredible to see kind of the power that LED light. Like, a lot of people used to judge LED lighting when it came out. You know, people were
they were really bad back then.
Right, but it was like, they'll never compete. They'll never compete with output. And now they got some competition. You know,
they're getting close.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, they took it, they turned it on its head a little bit. They made it, instead of a long tube, now it's flat.
Yeah.
And it's like a 1x1 panel.
Nice.
And so it gives you this much more space to back it up to a wall, rig it flat into a ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, like if you wanted to do something like within a drop ceiling, you know, you can rig to the frame of the drop ceiling and it's flat. You can still access the back. It still gives you room to angle and tilt. Whereas I wouldn't necessarily be able to do that with a tube style. You know, they have rigging clamps on the sides. There's actually 20 points. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, you're
but if
good.
I remember correctly, there's rigging points all over them. You know, like little details that just where you're like, oh, you know, like as a DP, I look at it, and go, it's bright, great.
Yeah.
Color's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, double thumbs up. I love that. You know, but you hand it to a gaffer, a grip, a rigging grip, and all of a sudden they're like, I can't do anything with this, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's sort of more like, oh, I could put a point here, I can put a pin there, I can connect it to this. They have their own system of where you can kind of rig them together into banks.
It feels like,
really cool,
it feels like adaptability in this industry. Accessibility and adaptability, my two A words. Like, because everything is becoming a little more accessible from an entry-level perspective, but can still suit, obviously. Is adaptable to, you know, your higher budget productions. And then, you know, one of our sponsors is, as well as, you know, GVM for us, is Excelsius, and they make cages for cameras. And so it's like the ability to take your piece of equipment and be able to use it for any case scenario is something that I've seen evolve over the past few years. Like, it used to be very proprietary, I think, and now it feels like we can mix and match it all together. You know, it's awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been like a little bit of a coming together, especially for cameras. You know, the rails and the fittings and you know, everything is, I mean, it's always been standard, but there was also not really many options. You know, I mean, in film days, you had, you know, Panavision, Ari, Eclair, Aton.
Yeah,
That
sure.
was about it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one or two others.
And now look
but,
at us at NAB. We've
Yeah,
filled
it was-
halls with the variety there is.
Oh, and
It's
every
insane.
there's 10,000 of everything.
I know, exactly. It's hard to choose, which is why let's talk about choice. What are the secrets of lighting? I'm gonna ask you the hardest question of all. What are your fun, like, pull it out of my brain hat of, like, you know, here are my tips and tricks for lighting for people who are starting in cinematography?
That is the hardest question
I
there is,
know.
because
You're
there's
welcome.
no.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was actually thinking about making. For a short while, I entertained the idea. I was like, maybe I should teach a class on
Totally.
tabletop and product lighting and all
For
that.
sure.
And then I realized, I was like, it's futile, because if you do a whole lighting setup and you turn the thing a quarter of an inch, now you have to redo everything, because the reflections change, the shape of the bottle changes.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing a young filmmaker can do, especially a DP or somebody who wants to be a gaffer or is interested in light in general, photographers, also applies to photographers, you know, walk around and take photos of, with your phone, which is fine, of anything you see that you like the way the light looks. You know, like take the tight lens, take a photo of the thing, and then go ultra wide and see what's causing it.
Yeah.
Because once you build up a library of cause and effect when it comes to light, then you can start thinking in terms of imagining what the lights are going to do. You know, there's a joke, a lighting error. I don't know if you've heard.
No.
Okay. The lighting error is when this happens every job.
Okay.
Is you walk into a space, great, you know, actor's going to, and the AD walks through and goes, oh, well, the actor's going to stop here, and then they're going to go there, and they're going to do a thing, and then they're going to leave. And then there's no person.
Yes.
So you're lighting air.
Planning for, whatever.
You're lighting air.
Yes.
There's no stand-in. Do they have a stand-in? No, there's no budget for a stand-in. Is there, you know, you have to grab the camera PA.
I like that.
You know. So after a while, because that's how we came up with minimal resources, you know, 2004 through, you know, 2005 through today, you get good at lighting air. And you get good at predicting what lights are going to do, how they're going to behave, how they're going to react. Sometimes you get surprises and it looks terrible, but that's comes from just obsessively walking around, looking at light that I think looks cool, and trying to see what caused it, and then just like making a little mental notes on, you know, okay, oh, so the sun is bouncing off that car window, through the bush, through the window, and that's making dapple pattern.
Yeah.
How far away is the bush from the window? How far away is the car from the? If I replace the car with a light, what's it going to look like? If I replace the, you know, and those like little things, just for simple effects like that.
Oh, so fun.
Flowing light.
It's the best part.
Yeah.
It's the best part.
But being able to recall that and bring that up quickly is a big part of the difference between success and failure.
It's like training your brain, the muscle memory of it all,
exactly.
right?
Because every layer that you can make better faster, it gives you, you know, as a DP, gives you a more complete look and a more complete, you know, visual thing. Thing.
Yeah.
You know, more complete visual, like, execution of your of what's in your head, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't teach that, though, really. I mean, I can tell you how to do it, but I can't tell you what to do. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think filmmaking, for me, I've always believed that, like, filmmaking is the more life experience you get and the more you've experienced the world around you, the better filmmaker you become. Not only if you're going to be, like, writing a story or creating a character, but also, like, the way you light. It's like traveling will give you different qualities of light wherever you are. The sun is different, you know, everywhere you go. The buildings, the history of it, how thick the walls are, what the triple pane versus single pane that you get, like what windows are. Like, it's just a really interesting thing because your job's never done as a DP. It's like you're constantly researching, right? It's like you're constantly on this journey of an uphill journey of learning, but it's fun, you know. And I think that's probably why I became a DP, right? Like, why'd you choose DPing?
An accident.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me about that.
I was a sculptor. Went to art school.
What kind of sculpting?
Mixed media installation, site specific. Yeah, so like one of those like New York guys.
Like hands-on,
Yeah, like, you know, the gallery, the whole gallery thing, and you know, that was where I was heading. You know, I had a few shows and whatever, but I started making some video stuff And of course, you'd start making videos. It was more like found footage, things I would tape off TV or whatever. And after a while, I was like, it's not really what I'm looking for. I can't find this thing. I was like, all right, fine, I'll get a camera.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, damn it. What do I do with this? And I think that's sort of film school for me was dvxuser.com, and signed up one day and lurked for a while and then saved up my pennies and bought a DVX, and and that's just how it started. And I was making the videos for the artwork, but I was making these like in a very simple editing program. I was like making like the moon with eyes and a mouth. It kind of like the Angry Orange thing, but a little bit before that. It was never went anywhere or anything. It was only in the gallery actually, but somebody saw it and they loved it, and it was, this person was at an ad agency, and they said, hey, this is really cool, can you make one for us? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm 19, I'm still in college. And basically they were like, here's a big pile of money, make this thing. And
Seriously?
I made them for free. With nothing.
And then you just took all the money.
And I was just like, wait, why? What am I supposed to do with the? You're 19. What am I supposed to do with the money? And then they finished and they liked it, and then they were like, "What are you doing next week?"
Totally.
We have a Godiva commercial. We need a.
Love it.
And
just spiraled.
I had no business on that set. I mean, I didn't know anything.
Apparently, you did a good job though. So.
If it was a perfect storm of an extremely kind director, understanding and kind director.
What?
And
where does that ever happen?
Extremely understanding and kind gaffer and AC.
I love that.
And they could see that I was a child, and they were like,
but you were creative and you knew what you wanted.
And that was actually the question that they asked, which really, I think, took the fear out of it. But also shaped the way of thinking. It was a very simple question that the director and they were huddled on set. They were like, oh, we're screwed. Like, how did you get? I told them, I was like, I don't know how I got this job. They just asked me to show up.
I like that you're transparent. That's good.
Oh, no, I had no idea what I was doing. And the gaffer goes, he goes, well, actually the director says, well, where do you want to put the camera? And I was, we walked together and I put the camera down, and I think it was a Vericam or something like that.
Okay, great.
So zoom and set the thing a little bit, because I knew a little bit from the DVX, so I was a little bit familiar with Panasonic, which was a part of probably why they called me. And he goes, that looks great. And then the gaffer is like, well, what do you want it to look like?
You're like, oh God, thank God.
Yeah, he's like, well, what do you want the light to look like? And I was like, well, it's a kitchen scene. I was like, like in the morning when like the light bounces off the floor and you get that kind of like, just descriptive terms.
You were observant already.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's a lot of the job. Yeah, that's a lot of the job.
And he goes, cool. He goes, do you care how I do it? And I was like,
nope.
Am I supposed to? I don't know. But they did it, and it looked great. And they both were like, at the end, they were like, you really need to be an assistant for a while. You shouldn't be doing it. But then they called me again.
Good. Because you did a good job, and you had a good team, and filmmaking is collaborative.
And then it got hard, because then all of a sudden the weight of understanding what I didn't know.
Right. So what did you learn first? What did you learn first? You were like, the weight of what I don't know.
I called at the time in New York, there's a DP, Tim Naylor, who was my mentor for many, many years, still to a degree. I called his phone and he picked up, and I was like, listen, I think he had rented a 35 mil. I was like, had one of the early 35 millimeter, because I was interested in the science of it. He had rented my 35 adapter instead of Canon lenses. I was like, I will do anything, because they're calling me for this stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I just need to watch and learn. And so he, bless him, but he threw a Bartek at me and was like, figure it out. And it turned out I had the knack for pulling focus. I pulled focus for him for 7-8 years.
Oh my God.
While shooting.
Good for you.
But it was really scary for a long time.
Good for you.
To not know how to do this.
Right.
Learn how to do this. Watch him do all this stuff, and then go back.
Your brain's in overpower.
And then suddenly it's like I'm in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Commercials didn't really have any business being on, at least for the first few years.
But now you do. And it's cool. So you started in sculpting, and you are essentially now just sculpting, but with light.
Yeah. And
which
that's
is
why I
great.
took to it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's all
right.
the same thing. You know?
I always thought like I really want to do life drawing more because life drawing you're studying light and shadow and like gradient. And I felt like any kind of tangible art form that can help you be a DP is similar to that. Like sculpting is like that, life drawing, painting, you know, all of it.
It's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, if you look at filmmaking is the only art form that uses every single other art form.
I say that all the
You know,
time. I love
it's
that.
true, it
I
is.
know.
I mean, and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you combine theater, music, set design, light, and if you want to even get into a little bit philosophically, you know, time is also a factor. You know, timing, which goes into the editing side. And, and then, you know, even I was even thinking like, you know, well, what about dance? I was like, well, no, yeah, shot blocking is choreography.
Sure.
You know, there's the Steadicam operator, and all that. So, you know, it's if you study any of those disciplines, even if you're a filmmaker and you want to go take a ballet class, all that's going to do is help you with camera operating.
Yeah.
And help your sense of timing and connection to your subject. And, you know, I mean, I really, my wife's a dancer.
Okay.
And, you know, when we film all kinds of stuff together, you know, and it's sort of your brain turns off and I see the world through the lens and we're connected and we dance together.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no, I'm not saying I'm graceful, but
that's okay.
But it is still as she moves, I know where she's gonna go and how she's gonna. So the shot is always flowing and moving. And it's, you know, like and if you can, a good camera operator builds that rapport with their talent. You know, whether it's an actor or a performer or whatever. So any discipline you study helps.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, right? You know, write so you know how it translates to the screen. If you know.
Yeah. What is the biggest mistake you made early on? Because I have mine, and I always like to hear yours.
Which one?
Yeah, pick one that's like pretty bad. Like it ended up in the final product.
There was I mean, aside from like forgetting tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, which there was no final product.
Oh no.
Middle of nowhere, no recording media. That's happened.
Yikes! I know, I've had that.
I think maybe nobody else noticed it, but I did. It was I was doing a TV series. This wasn't even that long ago. Did a TV series in Singapore, and there was a miscommunication that I should have double checked and I didn't, because we were on 20-hour days and I was really tired.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I lit an entire scene that was supposed to be day for night.
Oh my god!
So the whole scene was lit day for night, like as if it was nighttime. You know, block the windows, dark exteriors, out the windows, and all that. I mean, they made it work, and no one
for sure.
cared.
But that's hilarious.
But that was a pretty big. I mean, we were 20, but even the director didn't catch it. We were all exhausted.
Whoa!
You know, but by the time we finished, and he was putting the dailies together, and he calls me, he's just laughing maniacally on the other end, and I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Are we reshooting?" He goes, "No." He was like, "I'll just move it in the edit to somewhere where it makes sense."
Oh my god. You know? Okay, I'll tell you mine, just so you don't feel like you're out here naked on your own. My first short ever shot, I was shooting with anamorphic lenses on like a scarlet, or like a red scarlet or something. And you know how they have all those shooting modes that you swipe across to pick? I picked the widescreen mode, thinking that was an anamorphic D-squeeze.
Oh, so super ultra mega
4:1.
Nice. Should have embraced it.
I used the entire sensor and anamorphic. Not the entire. I used the entire anamorphic lens's resolution and cropped the sensor. You know, it was like 4:1.
Yeah, and it was just this little, like, it was like a bar.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
And I won an award for it.
There you go.
At a film festival.
I feel like I remember reading about that.
No, you didn't.
That there was the short film shot 4:1, and like you guys embraced it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that was ours. I don't know, but like I embraced it. I was like, well, it was about two girls moving out of their family home, and like they were gonna miss their home. And so I was like, oh, it's about the environment and like the size of the environment around like them this way, you know? It's anamorphic.
You make it up as you go.
I do. I'm very good at bullshitting. But anyway, it was fine. Like the director liked it, but anytime I look at
aesthetic.
it. Sure.
Like that's an aesthetic you can.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would have never occurred to you to do that.
Never.
And now
It never has again, but at least I know it's there. I have the context, you know, to know it's like present in there. So
that's I don't consider that a mistake.
I consider it a huge mistake.
I mean, a little bit, but
a huge bit, but oh well. Timur,
yeah.
çok ben seni seviyorum.
Oh.
Thank you so much for being
you.
here.
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
How can people find you?
You can find me. Google my name, I guess.
Okay.
Timur Savan.
Okay.
Shows up all the things.
I can't wait to look at the like environmental product photography.
Yeah, I mean that's
not photography, product.
Yeah,
shoots.
yeah. I mean you'll find that on my website, Instagram.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Or my agency page has all that stuff.
Cool. You know. Well, we'll see you at the great video maker booth soon, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
the League of Filmmakers and the League of Filmmakers show at NAB 2025. I am your host, Haley Royal from Cinematography for Actors, and it is a really great honor because I have a co-host, Indiana Underhill from Cinematography for Actors, and we're excited right now to be joined by Andre and Sean. Andre, from Social EU,
Yeah.
and Sean from ProSite.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
Of course.
So I'm gonna want to know a lot about both of you, any personalities, any families, everything you know.
Wow.
And
All
about
right.
your company. So can we get through that, do you think, in like 30-ish minutes?
Yeah,
Great.
they'll
Okay.
do a great job.
Awesome.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with Andre. Hi, Andre.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, where are you from?
I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Do you live there now?
I do. That's where our studio is.
Oh, okay. Where Social U Studio is.
Social U Studio. Yeah.
Social U is online. You're big into online education and accessible education, aren't you?
We're doing a bunch of different things to kind of put them into quick categories. We're a virtual production studio. I kind of joke like we're like a practicing hospital. So we're a practicing studio. So we are always doing our own productions. We're working with really large brands like Coca-Cola, CNN, and Time Warner, and Disney. We're doing things like that.
Okay.
We also have started doing a lot of consulting. So we get a lot of folks that contact us, want to know more about how to do the type of virtual production we're doing. It's all green screen. We do live chroma key production. We're a multi-camera studio running about 8 cameras, doing full tracked virtual production. And so a lot of studios have started coming to us asking for help with their lighting or how to there's a lot of tech involved in all of that.
They're so good.
So we do a lot
What's
of
your
stuff with
pixel
that.
pitch?
So good.
What's my pixel pitch?
Yes.
What am I supposed to say? 12K? Yeah, so I would just say what we are is a real-time virtual production studio that makes videos as fast as we can talk.
Amazing. And what panels do you work with?
Oh, pixel pitch.
Yes.
I now understand. I thought you were saying like, what's my pitch?
Oh no.
Using some
Well,
creative
honestly,
pixel
there
like-
should be a podcast started called Pixel Pitch. Yeah, I know.
So we're all green screen.
oh,
so-
it's all green.
Yeah. So
Otherwise, this would be a very controversial.
Awkward.
awkward.
Well, it's interesting. So, okay, so
Yeah.
if your virtual production studio green screen, so you're having them in front of the green screen, you're lighting for that, but then everything is live, real time, going onto monitors where you built everything in Unreal or
Right. Or whatever.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Amazing.
Right. And what makes that different? I mean, it's a tool, right? So green screen's a tool, LED's a tool.
Yes.
The reason why we are green screen is for us, we're a multi-camera. So we've got 8 cameras. And so we can have 8 cameras all tracked, all rendering what needs to happen, where an LED volume can do some fun tricks around like shadowing and stuff, but it's still only a couple of cameras. So we have 8 cameras, full isolated shots that we can do.
And that's because you're doing it as fast as possible.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
part of the whole thing.
Well, right, we've kind of created an assembly line approach. So we basically imagine as video number 1 is being made, we're cutting between all of it, but we can mess up. I've messed up at least 5,000 times in my life.
Yeah.
And so, so because of that, by having the isolated shots, because they're fully rendered, now I can go back and be like, oh man, it was Haley that was talking. I need to cut over to that.
Wow.
So that gives us a lot of
Smart.
flexibility
Yeah.
in post. Yeah, so that's kind of thing we're up to. Just one last thing about green screen versus LED. Because we're a studio doing tons of different productions all the time, we have the problem or challenge with LEDs. You got to build a floor because we're always showing the head to toe at some point. So that's a real challenge on LED because you got to physically build out a floor.
Yeah.
That would be super unsustainable for us because today it's a living room, tomorrow it's outside, the next day it's a whatever. And so in order to be able to make those changes quickly, having that green screen floor to ceiling, that's a big advantage of green screen. And, you know, for those that are here at NAB, if you come by our booth at the ProSite booth, you'll see what a real-time key looks like. And at least from day one, people seem to be super blown away about what's actually capable using the Blackmagic Ultimat 12.
And you love working with Sean. Sorry.
No, it's
Love
okay. I have so many questions when you're done.
Like you guys, we're going to get through this in half an hour.
Yeah.
We're going to try. So you like working with Sean because ProPsych.
Yeah.
Did you know each other before, or did you find Sean because you loved ProPsych?
Yeah, I actually found Sean last year at NAB.
Oh,
So because we're all green screen, we're looking at all the green screens, and there's one name that really shows up a whole bunch, and it's ProPsych. And so we made a connection there. It turns out we live fairly close to each other, about 2 hours away from each other.
Wow.
And so we were able to kind of go in. form of
essentially
friendship.
studio is Pro Psych Green Screen.
So yeah, and we've got, in fact, not only we have the newest ProSite's just introduced a new color, which you can talk about in a minute. And we've been prototyping that in our studio. It's been really fun to see.
Wow. What's the new color?
It's called dark virtual green.
Okay.
Ooh, spooky, yeah.
Oh, dark
Yeah,
virtual.
so we have
emo.
virtual green, which is
Yeah.
a brighter, kind of the more traditional, what you think of in chroma key. But in talking with Andre, he was talking about the way they approach chroma keying and lighting and shadow side lighting and a little more cinematic, as opposed to like your broadcast lighting, which is very full, flat,
Yeah.
even lighting. And he's like, there's real advantages to having a darker green that doesn't cast so much spill, so they can be a little more nuanced in their lighting. Because photorealism is really where this guy shines,
Right.
and the key is just unbelievable. And so we were like, well, we're going to come out with a darker color paint. So yeah, we're actually debuting it here. It's
Congratulations.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
and he likes it.
Oh, good.
I do.
We
I
love
do
that.
like it. I do
We
like it.
love
So
that.
yeah, that was like the final test.
And the people coming by the booth like it. So
Yeah.
everyone who's been
Well,
coming by,
restaurants.
they've been blown away at the quality of the key. Every little hair, which is easy on me, but
Can I? Oh, that's funny. Good job. That was funny. I liked that. The okay, real-time tracking. So are you doing like Stipe on cameras, and you see like you have all the little mirrors on the top that the camera knows where it is and stuff?
yeah.
or-
So green screen can function just like LED
Yeah.
on camera
Yeah.
tracking. So you can use any kind of tracker. Right now we have everything from 5 Mars
Yeah.
to Moses in our studio right now.
Got it.
So yeah.
What is like if someone's doing this for the first time, meaning a filmmaker is coming into you for the first time and they're like, yes, it has to be quick, but I don't know a lot about what's going on.
Right.
What is the most like surefire, fail-safe method out of the ones that you just listed to
From
kind of
a
start
camera
them?
tracker.
Yeah.
Are you asking if they came to my studio?
Yes, if they came to your studio.
So this is maybe I can answer your question, but I'll first just make this kind of blanket
Please.
statement. What makes us different is we're a whole full-time team.
Okay.
So we don't really have. I mean, we'll collaborate, but we've already configured all of that. So when
Got
people
it.
come to us, we already have we're doing the lighting, we're doing all of that.
Wow.
They're not coming in and having to do any of those things. So maybe they're acting more directorial, or they're acting as a
Yeah.
DP and kind of suggesting. But we're the ones actually
set.
running all that. So we've built a full turnkey solution. It's not like a traditional studio
Yeah.
where it's like, here's a room and electricity, and we also have gear you can rent.
Mhm.
It's not like that. So
Got it.
instead, it's almost like we're more like an agency.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Got it. And with the accessible education you make online, how did you decide to put things out into the world? Like what was the need?
Well, and I will do this very fast. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a software company. It's going great. COVID happens, and it's like, hey, work from home and flatten the curve. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Remember that? And so we start, and I'm like, well, I can still go back to the building. I'll do some of those upgrades. I was doing a little bit of video, but it was super side hustle. And then that turned into, oh, they're never coming back, are they? They're going to work from home for forever now. And so I think people need video now more than ever. And so that kind of kicked off this massive, like, oh, I think I need to build out
Wow.
a complete studio to do this. And then that's kind of taken off a life of its own, where it's really started going. Well, in the process of doing that, I'm a technical guy. I understand a lot of technology things. But I was having a ton of struggle trying to figure out, like, well, how do you do this exactly? And it's like, there are 3 videos on YouTube that talk about how to do that.
Yeah.
And I've watched all of them. One of them was in Japanese,
Yeah.
And so, so that just became a real frustration for me of like just not being able to find the content. So we made a strategic decision at the very beginning. What if we just go like this and we just share every single secret
Love
we
it.
learned?
We love it. We run a education nonprofit, so it's community building and
Yeah.
education, and we make it free to everybody. And one of the things we did was I shot my first virtual production shoot last year on a stage with Roe.
Okay.
And we tried to make it as accessible as possible for people to come visit the set and learn it,
Right.
because it's a really expensive thing
It
to
is.
do
It
for
is.
independent filmmakers or filmmakers that are new to it. And so getting them in to at least like understand a bit about how it works, I think is just so awesome, so that you're able to put something out like that is like game changing.
Well, and so one of the key things we've been doing on that is a show called The Debrief. It's
Okay.
on our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And all it is after we film whatever it is we film, we all sit down at our stations and to just share every
Oh, I
single
love
secret.
that.
So it's like everything we failed at, everything we succeeded
Yeah.
at, no ego, don't talk bad about the customer, but
Yeah,
other
yeah,
than
yeah,
that,
yeah.
share every single
That's
thing.
great.
And
It's
it
been a
should be
lot of
called
fun.
Pixel Pitch instead.
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
now that I've heard this amazing name,
Yeah.
And then Sean, does ProSense,
Yes.
do you do any consulting with these guys to help them figure out best practices? With
No,
their
not
screens?
really. He knows way more than me about this stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing.
still learning.
Yeah, we're
So I know that a lot of the time with green screen, one of the drawbacks that filmmakers find is it's hard to match the lighting to what will eventually
Right.
be in there. What are some best practices to make sure that that is
yeah, lighting is critically important and
Yeah.
often overlooked. And Andre could speak more about the lighting techniques, but
Right.
yeah, a critical part of a believable virtual set is having the light on the talent match what's going on in the
Yeah,
virtual
so-
scene. So yeah.
Pick your background before, no.
Well, yeah, I mean the lighting has to match, or complement what's knowing what the virtual background is.
Right.
And so so there's a couple different ways to create virtual sets. There's the Unreal, so that's actually digitized background. And then there's what you kind of specialize in, which is shooting plates, where you actually go to a
Yeah.
physical location and you kind of map out where your cameras are going to be. And if I say anything wrong,
Yeah, he's doing so good. He's doing so good.
and even focal length, aperture,
Yeah.
distance from the talent to the camera and everything, and you actually shoot a video with the number of cameras, the number of perspectives you're going to use, and then recreate that in your studio. And then the key, we keep saying key, no pun intended, but the key is to have the lighting in your studio match. And so I talked about before the importance of the color of green to enable him to kind of get very nuanced, light it like a portrait photographer or a videographer, a DP or something like that. And that's something that I think with someone like you that's bringing that more to the forefront, the importance of it to actually bring that up to the next level of photorealism, to where you're like, if you didn't know it was being shot on a green screen, which is where we're going, you wouldn't know, kind of like AI. Like
We've heard that a lot.
It's like,
This last day, people are like, if I didn't see this, there was
You
a
wouldn't
green
know.
screen right here in front of me, I wouldn't believe that this
Yeah.
is
So
green screen.
fantastic.
So one last thing I'd add to that is, because we can do it all in real time now, I think that's a massive change, because before it was like, well, the light's going to come in from this way and there will be shadows.
Yeah.
And now we can actually see it. It's like, oh, that shadow line's a little weird. Move the light to the left.
Mhm.
So being able to composite it all in real time,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a big strategic advantage that
Because
just we
you're not
haven't had
fixing it in
before.
post anymore.
Right.
At all.
And it was
Yeah.
super not accessible before. I mean, it wasn't long
Yeah.
ago the Ultimate was like $30,000 or something.
40.
And now, it's a lot of money. And now it's like, I don't know, it starts at like $500 or
So are you
$800.
using the Black Magic
Yes.
Ultimate stuff?
Yeah, so we're a very Blackmagic ecosystem
Cool. Us
using the
too.
Blackmagic Ultimate 12 4K.
Oh.
Yeah.
I am trying to get them when we get back to LA in our studio to teach us Ultimate, and so we can do a course on
Amazing.
Ultimate, like a free course so people can come in and learn it.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing so much about how easy that workflow is once you nail it. Like
It's
not
unbelievable.
easily done, but like how it sells. You're just like,
It's
this works.
incredible.
He's got some amazing tutorials on YouTube that you can look at right now.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta put those on our website.
Yeah,
so
yeah, please do.
you get the people.
Well.
Do either of you
Yeah.
foresee any integration of both LED and green screen for any
Oh,
reason in the
tons.
future?
Oh,
Or is
absolutely.
it happening already?
It's happening already.
Wow.
Yeah.
How are they doing that? What's the use case?
So there's pros and cons to
Yeah.
both, and you're,
Right.
you certainly are familiar with that. But I get the biggest difference is the cost, right? Getting into an LED volume,
Mhm.
significant expense just to get into it,
And the
and then
team,
the amount of power,
Yeah.
energy it takes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it's
Right.
significant.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be very significant. But there are challenges. He mentioned the multi-camera
Yeah.
thing. He
Right.
mentioned you can have
Floor.
you can have LEDs on the floor, but you can't create shadows, which is
Yeah.
important in a
Yeah.
virtual set because it's light. So normally in an LED volume, you're having to create your foreground or just not have a foreground.
Yeah.
In green screen, that's quite a bit different, quite a bit easier. So that they call it a hybrid workflow, or you might have an LED volume for some of the advantages there, where your talent can actually see what's going on
Yeah.
and interact with it in that way. And it's kind of advantageous there. Or the green screen, where you're able to, like you said, a lot more flexibility with multi-camera, with inexpensiveness, and then being able to change things in post if you have to.
Have you ever seen it being
So-
used together, like at the same time?
Absolutely. There's a couple demonstrations right now going on.
For like reflections and stuff, for like ceilings, when people do like LED, like volume
Sure.
tiles on the ceiling, and then but they'll do green screen around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't
So
seen
many
that, but it's
different ways.
possible.
So many different ways to combine this.
Now, what is the use case of the new color? Who's going to use it? Why was it made?
Yeah, I would say
Andre's gonna use it.
Yeah,
I'm
for
used to
sure.
it.
But
smaller
why? Why was it
studios.
needed?
So
Yeah.
spill is one of the drawbacks
Yes.
of green screen, right? So in a bigger studio, you can usually pull the talent farther off the wall. You can use light to kill spill.
Yep.
Smaller studios, that's more difficult. Most people are probably in smaller studios,
Yeah.
so that would be a benefit to that. And so yeah,
That's cool.
kind of the main.
Yeah,
When you
that's
say new color, is it
Yeah.
paint for a psych wall, or are you doing seamless backdrops?
So
Or both.
it's
Or is
starting
it
with
that?
paint, right?
Okay.
So our main products are cyclorama, like seamless cyclorama,
Yeah,
modular
right.
psychs, right? From a
Mhm.
small up to a
Pro
huge
psych.
network studio. Yeah. So that's kind of where we started, and specializing in just like the best, most seamless backgrounds you could have. Because that way you eliminate shadows, you can light it evenly, which is very important. Andre's kind of taking it to the next level where he creates shadow light zones and things like that, which is
that's cool.
incredible. And you're able to do that a little more with the darker color
What's
as
the-
well. But we make a flooring material that's kind of like a vinyl plastic that to match the paint. So that's the other part of it. And we'll have that coming out as well to match that paint. So
My question that I so rudely interrupted you with before.
No, it's okay.
So excited. What is the process of deciding you need a new color of paint and then creating a color of paint?
And then you have to test it all because
Yeah,
it's
it's a
be
lot.
perfect,
Do you
right?
have to
It's a nightmare.
people
Yeah.
who can make paint?
yeah, we've shipped it to a few different people, but the process is hearing somebody going, I'd really like it if you had a
Yeah.
darker color of
Okay.
paint. I'm like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And, because then, like you said, there's a whole process. Okay, you work with a specific paint manufacturer and say, can you make something like this? Send it to him. We came down and painted your whole studio, and the next week he's like, yeah, that's not going to work.
I'm like,
So
I'm
are they
so sorry.
sending you like small swatches at first, and you're doing a little corner like on the
Couple-
bathroom wall, and then you send a
No.
whole bucket?
Kind of like, yeah, just kind of give some of the specifics. We need it a little darker, a little more blue. We want it really flat. Just all the
Wow.
color spectrum thing,
Yeah.
and then make us a sample, and then a couple gallons to go paint a wall and say, Andre, do you have
Yeah.
any time to check this? And he's like, yeah, maybe in like 3 months I'll get it around to it.
So I have one very important
Yeah.
question, maybe the most important question we've ever asked on this show.
Oh.
The most, uh-oh.
Is your entire house or bedroom painted green screen because you live and breathe
Hilarious.
green screen?
Why?
No,
Yeah.
my wife would kill me
I
if
know.
I had
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
thing as that.
There are multiple.
funny.
There are 3.
Are there
colors.
cameras?
That's right, there are.
Yeah.
Are
There
there
are.
cameras in your bed?
No.
Yeah. Are there 8 cameras
Yeah, yeah,
in your bedroom,
yeah.
in every room you have?
In
Yeah.
every kitchen,
every
in
room.
every
That's
every
right.
living room.
Yeah.
Work-life balance.
Yeah, that's
Right,
right.
for sure, for sure. That's so cool. Okay, so tell me an NAB story from, we're only a day and a half in-ish, from yesterday about someone who came up and you gave a demo to and what their feedback was. Something you're excited about.
Well, it's like anything, and I think this is what this industry and what we're talking about is. It's like a Venn diagram of art and science, right?
Yes.
So we're kind of merging these things together. So there's all this tech, and then there's all this like just artistic look of it, and it's hard to know when you're in the middle of it, like, is this working, right? Because you whatever your field is, you can be very nuanced in it. And sometimes you can miss the bigger picture of kind of what's happening. So for me, I would just say generally, and from a place of humility, it was just awesome to see everyone was pumped.
Oh,
Like
love it.
literal visual reaction of body language change,
Aw.
gasp of like when they suddenly understand the image they're seeing up above is happening right in front of them. That's been really fun to watch.
There were people like, oh, that's really good. And there was a situation, somebody said, dude, that's live. That's happening right now. Like, no, it's not. And then somebody
It's
went
like-
up and talked with the booth
it's
model,
like-
who's my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, move like this. And I said, it's live.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's very hard
I
to
love
do
it.
that.
So I think
but-
that was exciting just
Yeah.
to have. But some amazing people. What's awesome about NAB is we've met some just incredible people coming
Oh.
by. So that's been really cool.
So later, Haley and I will have to come get some B-roll at
Yeah,
your booth and
absolutely.
check out what
Come
you're
on
doing,
over.
edit it in.
Yeah,
We should
nice.
go get some B-roll at that booth. What's the booth number?
It's the South Floor Hall, SL 2719.
2719. We're all the
Straight
way
down
over
the
there.
road to the
Okay,
right.
that
Yep.
way.
Great. Do you guys want to see some green screen translated real time into a real world? then go to their booth.
Go to their
Absolutely.
Because they're doing something that hasn't been done before well.
And
Okay.
also, check out Andre's socially you work. How can we find you?
Yeah, so just sociallyu.com. And then, of course,
letter
from there,
U.
you can just go to YouTube, type in socially you, Instagram. We're in those places. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to check out the booth.
And I want to remind everybody, if you're watching the live stream, make sure you register because we're doing a giveaway at 3 p.m. And if you're here in the audience, make sure you scan that QR code and register because we're doing a giveaway at 3 p.m.
What does the giveaway include?
We have a camera, a Cinema 6K camera. We also have a cage from
Celsius.
We have some mics from Hollyland. And we have
Resolve
some
Studio
strong swag
licenses.
and Resolve Studio licenses.
And a Pixar 6K
That's right.
going out every day.
Anyway,
Can I just say-
register to
Yeah.
win.
We use the Celsius cage,
Yeah.
and that's been critical for us because it gives us a guaranteed mount point on all cameras.
So nice.
So from a tracking perspective, I can put everything, train it one time, and it all works on all the cameras. It's awesome.
We have two
Great,
Pixuses on the booth right now.
Yeah, you can see it
And
at
is
the
it Pixie?
Pixie. I was just gonna say that.
No one knows. I actually don't know if Blackmagic even
That's
knows.
hilarious.
Because,
Should be Pixie.
yeah, Pixie or
I got a few
I like
Pixie.
Pixies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I
One
like
Pixie,
Pixie.
that's fine.
Let's fight about
Let's
it.
fight.
On the next time, Ailey and I will fight about that. See you guys later.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Hello, everybody. We're back. It is the League of Filmmakers booth and the League of Filmmakers show at NAB 2025. I am Haley Royal from Cinematography for Actors, and I'm seated here with my new friend, Will Von Toggen.
Said it right. I love it.
We're going to quickly turn the PA system down. I have to keep speaking so we can turn it down. There we go. That's great. Oh, that was great. Okay, great. Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much. Thank you for your help.
Perfect.
Hi, Will.
Hey.
Let's introduce you again.
Okay.
This is my new friend, filmmaker, Will Von Toggen. Hi.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, so what are the filmmaker hats that you like to wear?
Too many. Writing, directing, cinematography. I act
You do.
on occasion, mostly in stuff that I've self-produced. I find it a little bit harder to act for others. I've done it a few times, done a few commercial gigs, but
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome.
I think most people will relate when you're getting started. You wear all the hats, and then you slowly can pick off a few. And I've reached a point where I've been able to do that. So I think my preferences are directing and producing.
Yeah. Amazing. Directing, producing.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Okay, we're gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
What inspired you? Where did you grow up, and how did it happen?
Well, I grew up in Boise, Idaho. and
Oh
I
my gosh,
still
I
live
have
there.
cousins in Boise,
You do?
Idaho.
It's a great place,
Yes,
but don't tell too many
many
people.
cousins there.
Okay. Yeah, so I grew up there. I live there presently, although I spent a few years living in Germany. I went to school in Reno, Nevada. And growing up, I always changed, when everyone asked a kid, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And sometimes I wanted to be a truck driver, and other times I wanted to be a wood carver or FBI agent. And the more I'd kind of dig into some of those fields, I'd think, oh, it's not really that exciting,
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, it was when I
FBI agent.
thought I wanted to be an FBI agent. I went and I did a job shadow with an agent, and we just spent the whole day at his desk. And he's like, yeah, this looks kind of boring. It looks a lot more exciting in the movies. And I thought, all the stuff that I've been into throughout my life has usually been because it looked exciting in the movies. So maybe I should look at trying to get in the movies. And then that's kind of what really kicked me off down that path.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you loved exciting things in the movies. You wanted to try them all. And then how old were you when you started making movies, when you made that decision?
I mean, I first started dinking around with cameras in junior high.
Dinking around?
Dinking around, shoot for the morning announcements, just these sort of montagey things set to music with little camcorders.
Fun. Were you in the AV club?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I eventually bought my own camera and started looking a little bit more directly at, short film production, shooting weddings, things like that.
I feel like in Idaho, that is like, you're going to have work
Right.
shooting weddings.
Right.
Kind of similarly to Utah, where I grew up.
And then eventually, after I left high school, I reached the point where I was looking for work, and I started working at a news station.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what really kicked it off. And I took the job at the news station really thinking, oh, this will lead to filmmaking. But they're very different worlds. And I learned that pretty quick. But what it really did give me was the opportunity to spend hundreds of hours operating a camera and getting to know things about filtration and lighting and things like that. And working fast, I think, was actually the biggest takeaway I got from that. Because, when you're coming back to the station, you've got 30 minutes to cut your clips. And if you miss your deadline, then it doesn't go to air. There's no actually pushing things back.
Are you in big trouble, too? Or is it just like,
you can
you didn't get
be
played?
in fairly big trouble, depending on the importance of the situation. If it's like a cat fashion show, they'll let it slide, but if it's a building burning, like, okay. Yeah, so I think I gleaned a lot from that world, and from that I was able to take the money I earned to buy a camera and then really start focusing a little bit more on narrative work.
So I'm interested in the cameras that you started dinking around with. Sorry, everybody. Dinking around with. Do you remember, were they cameras that the high school had for you to play with?
Yeah, I mean, they just had those basic JVC camcorders. My parents had a little Sony camcorder. I mean, this is before the DSLR revolution. This was like really whatever you could get your hands on was great. And that was a perk back in the day of working at a news station. You had a big old beta cam, but at least, it had more function to it than those camcorders. And I fortunately was able to sort of skip past the 35 millimeter lens adapter things that people were putting on camcorders. I didn't do too much with that, but then the DSLR revolution started. You're able to get nicer quality out of your cameras, and I don't know.
I just clued in when you were working at news and you had to edit your stuff. You were cutting film, right?
Like film?
Well, like what were you working on? Like tape?
Yeah, so beta tape. So this is the second news station I worked at. They had upgraded their cameras to memory cards, but the first one was still beta tape. And so you'd run in with your tape, pop it out of the camera, put it into looked like a VCR, and you had these shuttle wheels that you'd quickly go to the start of your clip. You'd hit record, play the tape in real time, stop the recording. That would make its own single clip of it. So even every single cut within that, it was just actually one big piece. And you'd log that, you'd play your tape, and you'd run into the editing bay, and you'd go in, open that up in your timeline, and then you'd have to pick the segments of that long roll of all the different shots you'd done and then drop that into the timeline and
Editing was a very different game back then.
And this wasn't even that long ago. I mean, 15 years ago. So
what part of that do you think stuck with you? Like, what did you learn and bring with you from that? Was it like a work ethic, or is it an artistry?
I think definitely the need to work fast and precise. I mean, you don't have the luxury of shooting 100 clips and then seeing all the clips in your timeline and you can know organically what's there. It's like, no, while you're here shooting this little thing that's only going to be 15, 20 seconds in the newscast, I don't need this many clips, and I also don't want to waste too much time editing because I don't know how much time I'm going to have going back. So you really try and get the good shots, keep track of where they are in your timeline, doing your interviews, trying to keep them as precise as possible, asking the right questions. That's going to get you a sound bite instead of just a long spill of information, so that you can cut it faster because you don't know how much time you're going to have, and also that you're just not wasting tape. So
Sound bites have come back around if you're doing anything in socials. You already know how to think that way.
exactly.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So now, forget that. Do you remember your first camera that you bought for yourself?
Yeah, it was a Panasonic HMC 150,
All right.
and I bought it used for I think $2,500.
Wow.
It was a used basic HD camera that if you wanted to shoot in slow motion, you had to go down to 720.
Oh my gosh.
It was just, you couldn't change lenses or anything like that. I mean, I know a lot of people, when new cameras are announced now, they think about the prices, but considering what you paid back then and what you got versus what you pay now and what you get, I mean, what we have now is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Everything's like a little more accessible now.
it's very much so, yeah.
So what were some of your first and favorite things that you shot on that?
I remember I was trying really hard to make money with it. You know, I was trying to justify myself that.
Yeah, because you paid for it. Now
And also, you know,
totally
use it as a pathway to try and make it.
Yeah.
I remember there's this group of guys, they called themselves the Fly Daddies, and they were fishermen. And they imagined
That's
this
amazing.
series of films they were going to bring out with of them fishing. And they thought theirs was going to be different because, you know, they had tattoos and wore really cool sunglasses, and, you know, they had to dip in their lip all the time. It was really, you know, kind of a little more of that grungy versus what you'd see commonly, which is, you know, the fisherman
like an older man.
gracefully talking about his flying. These guys
In
are a
the
little bit more
pants.
rugged. Yeah, and so I went on a few little fishing trips with them, but they never really caught any fish. So we never really ended up with a good product. And after, you know, a few months of that, and I'm like, this is going to take way too long to get anything worthwhile. I kind of parted ways. But that definitely sticks out in my mind.
Excitement, the climax of them pulling a fish out of
And
the
you
water.
do, you know. So we're trying to
How
think,
long were those trips?
I mean, they would be like a weekend long. We'd go to Eastern Idaho over in
That's
like
a
the.
long trip to not catch anything. What were those guys baiting with?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not a fisherman.
Sorry, Fly Daddies, it wasn't
But,
your
you know.
name. So after a few of those, you decided that's not the money I want to be making.
No, and you know, that was like I said, my news time segment was kind of in two pieces. I did news in Idaho, and that's when I was working with tape and kind of a little bit more old school working. And then I went back to school in Reno, Nevada, and I went on with the station there, and it's sort of slightly more updated equipment.
Yeah.
And I found that I was getting a little bit bored on my weekend duties of just going out and shooting stuff. And so I started doing a little bit of reporting at the same time. And this is at about the time where these hybrid multimedia journalists were coming into fashion, where people were expected to shoot and report all on their own without having a separate cameraman. But coming from it as where, you know, a lot of reporters don't have the camera experience, I had the camera experience and then was stepping into the reporter role. And so I was able to make some really interesting and engaging packages. I focused largely on light news. I thought it was a lot more fun to talk about the cat fashion show than the house burning.
Yep.
So unfortunately, you know, if news was tight, I was the first segment to get cut out.
Shoot.
And there was some frustration that came from that.
But mine looks the coolest.
You know, and I think, especially when it comes to local news, that's what people want.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't dwell on that.
Were there any parts of having to report that were frightening or like difficult, like skills you feel like you had to learn quickly?
Yeah, I remember when I was working in Reno, I was getting there to set up a live shot, and I'd actually just gotten reamed at work because I can't even remember what the situation was, but the news director just really let me have it and then sent me off to go set up a live shot. It was air raised. And right as I pulled up and I'm setting up the mast for the live shot, I look up and I hear all this noise, and there's a P-51 Mustang barrel rolling, and it crashed right into the grandstand and killed 17 people.
Oh my God.
And
you were there,
you
so
immediately,
had
I was the only media on site at the time, and just, you know, immediately you have to kind of shift into that role of how do I capture this? How do I do it gracefully? How do I shoot in a way that's not going to make this too like unviewable, but also captures the situation? And then how do I personally stay calm in this setting? So, yeah, you know, it wasn't always cat shows.
Oh,
but,
yeah. When you got back, did the station director apologize to you when you handed that very important footage over?
No, I know they sold that footage to a lot of. I remember that played on like BBC. It was played all over the place, you know, and then they sold that footage, but I never got an apology. I don't care, but, you know.
I care.
It's,
It's
it's the life of small news, you know. And then we can sit here and tell stories about it now. So.
Okay, and then when did you leave the news? Was that a conscious decision, or did you just end
It
up
was.
figuring it out?
I think I was, because I didn't have a lot of interest in being serious about the reporting.
It was about learning.
And, you know, in that size of a market like Reno, the pay isn't great. And I just had higher ambitions. So, yeah, I stepped out of that and went to Germany for a little while. And
Germany.
yeah, I had been an exchange student in high school. I wanted to go back again after college. So after college, I went back for a year. And I was going to do a little documentary on the folklore of this mountain region that I was living in. And one of the stories I heard during that documentary was really inspiring to me. And so I thought, you know what, I don't even really want to be a documentary filmmaker to begin with. I'm going to take this story and make a narrative short film out of it.
Wow.
And sort of pivoted a little bit and got that production together. And that's what I consider to be, I'd done like little short films before that, but that was the first one that I really put a lot of effort into the production, you know, getting locations that were period correct, getting costuming that was period correct, hiring actors, and doing more of a legitimate production. And that's, yeah, that's kind of what kickstarted me a bit more into that real direction. So,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened with that? Do you still have it?
I do, yeah. That never, you know, everyone you make those, you think I'm going to win Sundance with this
That's going to be
thing.
the one.
It's going to be the thing to do it. You know, you look back at it now, you see why it didn't win
Yeah.
Sundance, but it did help me find a mentor to work with. And I remember he's a very good friend. We've been friends now for maybe 15 years, but he's president of the company that does Simpsons. And I showed him the piece, and we had a little meeting, and the first thing he says, you know, this kind of looks like a student film. And in my mind, that was like the highest compliment. He didn't quite mean it at that point, but to me, it's like, well,
I didn't even go.
I know, yeah. So he's like, you know, but there's some things you could be better. It's a little long. The pacing's bad. Like, I know you think you're done with this, but if you want, like, we can do some recuts together, and I can help walk you through it. So that really opened the door to that relationship. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So then, did you work on it with that mentor?
We did. We cut it from like 20 minutes down to 12 minutes.
Nice.
A nice tight 12, and you know, there's some limitations to what I could do based on what I'd filmed at the time, and you know, he taught me some lessons about shooting more coverage and things like that. But at the time, I was actually actively writing what I wanted to be my first feature film, which was a film called Almosting It, and then he was there to help guide me through that process.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
are you still in Reno when you start writing? Title?
Almosting It. Almosting.
Almosting it.
Almosting It. Like the,
I
yeah.
was like, digging it.
Almosting It. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're in Reno.
No.
You're
I
past Reno.
had finished up my time in Germany,
Okay.
moved back to the States. I was living in Idaho again at the time.
Okay, and then you're writing Almosting It.
Correct.
How long did that take?
I wrote it for about 7 months. Yeah.
And then you shot it for?
How long I shot it for? Let's see. I started pre-production in January of 2014.
Mhm.
I raised the money for it on my own, and we shot in July and August of that year of 2014.
Amazing.
Had my first cut done in September, and then I did some reshoots in December. Finished final edit around May, and then we did sort of a premiere in my hometown, and then a very small theatrical run in the summer of 2015. So it was about an 18-month process from start to finish.
Was that your first time having people watching your work?
To that degree, absolutely.
What did that feel like?
I loved it.
Yeah.
That was actually my favorite part of the entire process, was when it was done. We had a 6-week run in our local art house theater. People were very proud. The people in town were very proud of seeing their town on the screen. And so we actually had a fairly good theatrical run. And I went to just about every single screening to do Q&As afterwards.
That's amazing.
And yeah, just getting to see people enjoy it and hear their feedback was really the best part of that whole process.
And you brought a little bit of Almosting It, didn't
I
you?
did. I brought the trailer so that the people
Oh my
watching,
God.
I'm not just talking about it. You can actually see a little bit of what I'm mentioning. So
Should we watch
let's
it?
take a look.
Hey, Grace, can we watch it? Roll it.
Is it your thinking? How did you figure it out? You're in the back half of your 20s, Ralph. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm just tired of people congratulating themselves for settling on second place.
Well, what are you doing that's so great? I love you to death, Ralphie, but this better not be your first place either. What's the occasion?
Maggie and I are going speed dating after work.
I have a lot of cats. A lot of cats. A lot of cats.
This is what you do when you're not here? Fan fiction writing at the community center?
Ralph, have you read much science fiction?
No, but I've watched quite a bit of it.
Look, I just want you to ask yourself what it is you want. And you gotta at least fake like you're chasing it, even if you aren't.
So any luck in there?
No. I don't think I have enough room in my house for that many litter boxes.
She's just what you've been needing.
You might want to.
Look, I know you guys think you're being helpful right now, but you're not.
You want to get out of here?
Do what?
3, 2 like a thing now? What's up?
I don't know that I'd say that. Things still aren't really that defined.
Does she know that?
It's come up.
You know, Ralph, Chet really did a number on you.
What are you doing, Ralph?
I have a good chance to quit being the guy who won't figure it out.
Now here, bloggers wanted for search engine optimization.
Here's your client list.
And I mean, it's fun, but it's unsustainable. Eventually, I got to grow up and do something.
It's gonna be good.
I'm proud of you. You're really pulling things together.
Yeah, that was the first movie.
Well, you're a very good actor.
Oh, thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you.
So I'm an actor, so I'm going to talk about the actors. We'll talk about other stuff too.
Sure.
But I'm watching this thinking, did you cast everyone from Boise, Idaho in this? Are they all
Fairly
Idaho?
close. There's a couple of, so Lee Majors, who plays the older gentleman in there, is actually a fairly famous actor from the 70s.
Yeah.
Fall Guy and $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
So we flew him in for that. And then Terry Kaiser, the other older gentleman, is known for Weekend at Bernie's. He was Bernie in that production. So they both are actually friends in real life. And when I cast Lee, he said, hey, after reading the script, this other part of Mort, I have a real friend who I think would be a killer for this part. So we brought him along as well. But then everyone else in the film was local.
Okay, independent filmmakers. Boise, Idaho has the cast for you. Everyone looks so good.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to watch the whole thing now.
Okay.
Well, so this saw a lot of success, didn't it?
Fairly good for a film its size, absolutely, and
Yeah.
especially on the local level. And I did end up getting distribution through Gravitas Ventures. It was available for a while on Amazon Prime for free. I think you can still buy it now. But yeah, it did okay.
So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of filmmakers, and I mean, me as well, until very recently, you create something, it lives its life, and there's a misconception that it's done, you put it away, and kind of you just do next one, and like maybe nothing really comes from that. But can you talk about what you feel making this, creating this, and then the life that lived afterward, what it's brought you and what you've been able to take on to your next project from it in terms of like people, community, recognition, whatever it is?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing I learned from it was more on the working side.
Okay.
I mean, there's the technical aspect. I remember this is another thing that I took my first cut of this down to my mentor, Richard. He again said, this is way too long. The pacing is terrible, but we can fix it. And so that first cut was 90 minutes. And then when I worked with him, we cut it down to an hour. And he said, this is much better, but it clearly can't just be an hour-long movie. You now need to find how to take it back out to 80 minutes, 85 minutes. And so I had to retroactively go through and rewrite some new scenes and figure out ways to interweave it within it. And at the same time, we shot this in summer and it's now winter in Idaho. So I have to find locations that I can kind of fake for summertime as well. And he taught me the lessons of like this scene, we could have saved this whole scene had you just shot enough coverage, meaning enough individual shots of each person at different lengths, sizes, rather than just trying to do this whole shot in a single wide take or only doing this couple of shots. So I think from a technical aspect, learning better how to approach a scene, how to shoot a scene, and then what your options are going to be in the editing room. beyond that, just learning that was my first time working with a crew that size as well. The budget was about $150,000. The crew on its biggest days was about 30 to 40 people that you yourself as the director are telling them where to go and what to do. And making sure that people feel like they're all a part of that same team when you're coming at it used to working with 5 people. And of course, when you're working with 5 people, everyone feels like they're a part of it, but you don't want these people that are there to help you support your vision feeling neglected. So learning how to work in that means, I think, is some of the biggest stuff I learned from that movie.
Yeah. Did you learn anything in terms of funding in the pre-production end? Did you have to do?
I did. Yeah. There's a really great book called Producer to Producer. I can't remember who the author of it is, but if you Google it, you can find it. And she does a great job of walking you through the means to approach this more as a business that you're trying to finance the business for. And I found that, that's a whole thing in and of itself. And there are legal things you have to take care of. You have to set up the proper business entity. You have to make it possible for you to sell equity shares and that you're doing it legally because you can't. It's illegal to just take money from people without any certain reasons. So making sure you're within those confines. And then I found that, I don't know, that's a huge topic. I guess we could go down that road.
We could talk forever about that. So then what came next?
What's that?
What came next?
So the next was a film called Heritage that originally was called Walpurgis Nacht, but people found they couldn't say the name, so I changed it. And this one, I really kind of wanted to step it up a little bit. I think maybe I got a little bit too confident in this realm, and I got a little impatient. And so on this one, the lesson from number 2 was just like managing your patience level as far as getting into a project too soon, because the duration it took me to complete the second project was about 4 years and had other
4 years
issues. But we shot it for about $90,000. We shot it in Germany. I shot it very much guerrilla style, where this first one was such a large crew. This one, the crew on a big day was about 8, and on a small day was 1. There's times I was actually running audio and camera at the same time. And it's mostly because I wanted to try and add a much larger layer of scope to it. Again, you're kind of always thinking, what's going to get me to the next level? And I, at the time, thought if I can really show that I can make a movie that looks epic for a smaller amount of money, I'm going to be in the running for something bigger than that. So
you gave yourself that challenge.
I did. And then on this second one, Heritage, which we can watch a clip of in a second, I didn't act in it, but I took on the DP role on that one. And I shot that with the original Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera.
The
original one, the OG. And we can get to it later on in the talk, but that's sort of what's helped me launch my company today, was that camera and my knowledge of it. But yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we're talking about it.
As we're talking about it, we'll take a quick peek. Yeah.
Okay, Heritage. Let's roll Heritage.
Habt ihr den Kram? Von Siegler wartet nicht gerne.
Gesuchte Volksfeinde der Deutschen Demokratischen Republik, die versuchen, ein Oberst der NVA zu bestechen. Da war doch noch etwas mit einer speziellen Halskette. War das nicht Teil unserer Vereinbarung?
How well do you know Chevy Price?
We had a few courses together at the start of the program, partnered up a bit.
Did you talk to him much?
Not often. A couple of emails back and forth. Why?
The department has a bit of a situation. We are hoping you could help us deal with it.
Came to look for him, didn't you? Price?
Yeah. I had.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but your friend is dead.
He got weird towards the end. All this time was spent with Gerhard.
Garrett said they didn't know each other.
Don't trust him.
Whatever you had going with him, I can't help you.
Walpurgiskette, necklace. Price was supposed to bring it to me and he never showed up. So you bring me the necklace and I won't kill you, okay?
What makes you think I'll be any good at finding it?
you are looking for, it's not supposed to exist. Many lives have been lost because of this reality.
You are in pretty deep, my friend.
I just want to go home. And if I don't take that necklace to Klaus, I will never be able to.
Those locations
Yeah.
looked illegal. So was that part of it? Were you sneaking into places?
We very much were. That's why I made the decision to shoot with such a small crew and such a small camera.
Okay.
Is that I knew I could, if I couldn't build some of these locations, I could find them. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
So, and it was just the pocket that you took with you?
Correct.
One camera.
Well, we had 3 of the pockets.
3 of them. Okay, there we go. 3. Wow. So what inspired you to shoot in Germany? What was, because you can sneak into locations kind of anywhere.
I was just so familiar with the area.
You knew.
I speak fluent German. I knew I had a lot of resources I could reach out to, and the German mentality around indie filmmaking, I think, is a lot more. They're much more intrigued by it. They have much more of a robust studio system, I'd say, in the sense that, like, if you're making film, you've studied it, you're doing it at a professional level. They have a lot more government funding for directed TV movies and things like that. So when someone comes along with a personal private project, a lot of those very skilled craftspeople are very eager and anxious to work on something that's a little bit different outside of that. And so you can get some really incredible talent and a lot of people willing to help you out. So I wanted to, implement that. So I'd say the biggest issue, the biggest mistake I made with this film was that I put way too much focus on the technical aspect of it. The best compliment this film gets is that it looks amazing. And it does. And I'm very proud of that and how it looked and how it was technically executed. The story was definitely lacking. I think I jumped into it without making the script what it really needed to be. And so, again, I think what I said at the start, this is just knowing your patience to be sure things are ready to that regard.
Because you can set up a challenge for yourself, but you still need to tell the story.
Right.
Story.
I don't like waiting for permission, and I don't think artists should wait for permission as far as like the bigger outside saying it's okay for you to do this. Because I think if you wait for that, you'll spend way too much time waiting for the perfect moment to make your movie, and you'll never make your movie. So I'm a firm believer in jumping into it. If you think you need $1 million, find a way to make it for $100,000. If you think you need $100,000, find a way to make it for $10,000. If you think you need this, find a way to do it with that. But at the same time, on levels of like script or finding the right actor or things like that, I think you definitely, it's better to take your time in those regards. So
yeah. How do you feel about jump in, make it, figure out how to make it, and then when you have awards and a lot of money, you can make it again perfect? What do you think about that? Or do you think when the story's done, the life of the story is done, it's time to move on?
It's interesting because there's times I've thought maybe I should go back and re-edit one of these, or almosting it, maybe if it had been slightly larger, if we'd gotten some bigger names in it, maybe it would have gone further places. There's also earlier versions of that script that I liked better that maybe I should have implemented some of that more personal aspects of it into it. And would it be worth remaking that movie? I'm torn on that. I think it's good to move on. It's good to find new things and just take what you've learned and implement it elsewhere. How many times has Martin Scorsese made Mean Streets? It's almost like the same movie every time, but he finds new ways to kind of tell that more interesting story rather than just remaking it. So I think take what you've learned and move on with it, but know what you're drawn to.
Yeah. What did you find? Completely different stories, and you gave yourself a whole challenge. But what were some of the things, like the pitfalls that you feel like you should have learned before on almosting it, that something happened and you were like, I should have known that? Did that happen at all?
I do think it was some of the script stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like I said, I went back and had to do a lot of reshoots on both and tweaking the edits and stuff like that. And I think I have now an even better understanding of it, having done that, because the Heritage was a lot harder to do the reshoots on, given the location, given the availability of the actors in it. Had I been in it, it might have been even easier.
Right.
I could have jumped into the scene, but then making
yourself.
sure that Jake was ready to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then all of that comes with you to the next project that you created something next.
Yeah. So this wrapped up, and finished in 2019. It also is distributed by Gravitas Ventures, so I was able to get distribution off of it. It was on Amazon Prime for a while for free, and I think it is now still available for purchase.
We can
so
still find it.
it's still, a real movie, quote unquote.
Why did you put air quotes around that?
Well,
that's a real movie.
No, I don't mean it's not a real movie, but that's the phrase, real movie, phrase.
Okay.
A real movie.
I'm taking umbrage with whoever you think you had to do this. That's
Fair
a
enough.
real movie. You made it.
I know.
Okay. We're gonna watch it. We did watch the trailer. We're gonna watch it later. Okay, so then after distribution, do you feel like this also grew kind of your life around creating what came next?
Yeah, so because the production on this took so long, I had to work other jobs in the meantime. So I started dipping my toe into commercial directing.
Okay.
And I did that while I was living in Germany. I lived in Germany for a total of 4 years. I ended up basically moving over there to finish this up. And I took a lot of what I learned as far as getting these larger scale looking, more impressive set pieces for next to no money and applied that to some of the commercial production I was doing at the time. So I started working for a company called Freaks for You Gaming in Berlin. They're an esports agency, marketing agency, where they, they put on esport tournaments, but they also have a lot of sponsors that come on board that need little ad snippets shot to play between, the streaming settings. And so at the time that I started working there, the largest budgets they were getting was like $10,000, which isn't much for a commercial. And I was putting a lot of pressure on my boss to start pitching for bigger clients, bigger commercial budgets, which it's that catch-22. You can't get a big budget unless you've already worked with a big budget. So we had one client come on called Prime League. It was for a tournament, Prime League, and there were a few mini sponsors within it. And they had a budget of $5,000. And I said, just let me steer the boat on this one. Let's try and make the most out of it. And if we're successful in making this look like it costs significantly more than that budget, rather than just like doing a turnover delivery. And I said, trust me, because they made no margin off of this because I spent all the budget. But I said, let me do my thing, and I bet you'll be able to take this and use it to sell to get larger clients, which they were able to do. So it's a 30-second spot. We can play it. But I had pitched this idea of this girl sitting in a subway car, watching a tournament on her phone, and then suddenly the lights go out, and when they come back on, she's in the arena watching it live, and she's super excited about it. And then all of a sudden it cuts back to her on the train, and she's realizes she can't just watch on her phone. She needs to go to the tournament, so she goes and buys the tickets, right? And on paper, that does sound very expensive. You're talking arenas, you're talking subway cards, you're talking effects. And so the bosses were like, well, let's just shoot this here. You can dress one of the offices to look like an apartment. And let's just take the same story, but maybe it's just a guy sitting in an apartment. And, instead of, but I really pushed back, and we were actually able to pull it off. And I brought that clip, the Prime League clip, if we want to watch that real quick.
Amazing, yeah. Let's watch it. Grace, can we roll that? Let's do it.
So what we were able to do is, it turns out, the biggest challenge was the subway car. What's it going to cost to rent a subway car? Can we even get access to one? Do we need to find a fake one that's built somewhere? With a couple of phone calls to the Berlin subway administration, it turns out there's a very short line that they would shut down for 2 hours every night, just because no one would be riding it. And so if we just paid enough for them to cover the security guard, we could actually be let into the subway tunnel where the train was parked. So we had 2 hours to get in there, build a little tent over the subway car, run some Titan tubes along the outside to fake the lights going by, and then just get a couple quick dolly shots of her inside the subway car. And that cost us about $800 total. And then as far as the arena, we just found a darker room, surrounded her by people, and then intercut it with actual footage from a tournament. And so we were able to pull off that shoot, and then from that we were able to sell it and get larger budgets after that. Because obviously we went tell the clients what it really
you
costs.
didn't tell them
you
what
know.
it actually costs.
But
to be able to do something like that in 2 hours, you need to have a really tight team around you.
You do.
How did you prep everyone for that?
We did a lot of pre-scouts. We
Yeah.
just talked really well what we were going to be doing. And again, you're working with a lot of people that know very well what their job is.
Yeah.
People that have done sort of similar setups. The DP that I worked with on that is someone that I'd shot other projects with. We had a really good working relationship. And just understanding the gear and what you've got time for. And again, kind of keeping it tight. You know, we didn't have a massive crew for that. And my big point in a lot of this is that, like, obviously you don't want to spend your life shooting no budget stuff with nothing crews and all of that. But by no means, if that's what you've got, should that be a limitation to what you can do. And then you should not expect that it's not going to look great just because you don't have what you think. And
Absolutely. Because clearly you have some methods to balance all of that.
Right.
To balance a low budget, but wanting to do something pretty epic. What are some of your favorite things? Like favorite places to people to call, things to maybe cut corners on? How are you making that happen? You return to every time.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like, are there people who you know you can call? Like how you called the Metro. Are you calling people and saying, "Hey, I'm going to make this movie"? Are you just being straight with them?
Yeah, I think people are always more willing to help than you think. You know, and it does maybe geographically depend a little bit. If you're living in LA and you're calling a little restaurant to shoot there, you know, they're going to tell you it starts at $1,000 or whatever.
right.
But if you're
They
in
know
Boise,
about
Idaho,
budgets.
where no one shoots anything, you know, they're excited for stuff like that. And I think that, you know, if you're excited about it and you make that excitement contagious, it's very easy to call people and sell them on some of this stuff. And, you know, you let them feel like they're a part of it. They can maybe be an extra in the background. And a lot of times people will walk away with it having had a really good experience. And then they're fine letting you back for the next one. So.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're working with a very small budget, like you said, you couldn't have a lot of crew there. So what are the super essential crew positions that you would suggest to, you know, a filmmaker working on something that's super micro budget has to not have the ideal? What do you need?
Unless you personally have a really good understanding of cameras, you'll need a cinematographer for sure. Same goes with audio. I think those are the two toughest things to try and correct for later. And then maybe just a sort of wearer of all hats who knows how to kind of jump in where they need to. There's a great book that I recommend to a lot of people called Independent Ed. It's by Ed Burns, who if you saw him, you know who he was. He won Sundance back in the early 90s. He's got this great story of how he shot his movie and then was working at Entertainment Tonight and jumped into an elevator with Robert Redford and handed him his tape. And he went on to win Sundance and went on to make some pretty good movies. He's in Saving Private Ryan. He was in Saved 27 Dresses. So he's had an acting career alongside of that. But he found that, you know, whenever he tried to step into larger and larger budgets, he had to lose a lot of his control over it. And so every now and then he'd jump back and use the format he'd used while making his first movie to make his own personal projects. And he set himself sort of these ground rules that I'm going to shoot this in 14 days. I'm going to shoot it for $25,000 or less. I'm going to have a crew of 5, and all the actors are going to do their own hair and makeup and wardrobe, which, you know, it's asking a lot of people. But again, if you find the right people that are, you know, wanting to do something like that and are into the project, and obviously it's someone like Ed Burns who's gone on to be able, I don't know, Connie Brighton, she was the mom on Friday Night Lights. Her first role was in his first movie. So she was one of those people that took a chance on him
Was game.
and had a career explode off of it. So
Well, and those are the type of people who will do extra and be game. Those are the type of people you want to grow with too, because you know then when you have those big budgets, they're still gonna do extra.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. You'll have a great team. So when you are getting ready, when you're budgeting, how are you making sure that every dollar is spent wisely? Are you using a software or are you spreadsheets?
I like to do a lot of stuff by hand. I do a lot of stuff by hand. I think the more you've shot, the more you can anticipate what stuff's going to cost. I am a firm believer in like retroactively building your budget.
What does that mean, retro?
Rather than sitting down and line iteming everything and then finding a final number.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, I'm going to need this much for locations. I'm going to need this much for camera. The total now is $1 million. Think of how much money do I know I can get? Can I get $100,000? Can I get $50,000? Can I get 10? And then you start at that number, and then you start line iteming it out. Where can I actually spend this money in order to make it work? Because I think getting back to the thing of waiting for the permission, if you have such a high expectation of a dollar amount that you can't actually do, and then your mind is set that I can't make this movie without that, you're never going to make the movie.
I have a hunch that you are a guy who loves to work within a constraint, is what it sounds like. Like you're like, well, what do I have here? And then how do I make it work within this?
Yeah, I think so.
And
Yeah.
it's built some pretty cool stuff.
I think so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What's next for Will Von Toggen?
Well, as we'll get into in a little bit, I've gone on to start a company that helps creators and filmmakers do exactly that. Take cameras and make them work for you in a way that will let you get the most out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, then let's take a little break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and talk about it.
Perfect.
All right. See you soon, everybody.
Santi, Santi, despertate. Ya son las 5.
Oh, Ma, 2 minutos más, please. I hate waking up so early. Why can't we just not work?
Vamos, hijo. I wish we didn't have to, but we do. I'm gonna need your help packing the van.
Come on, a good time to wake up.
No. I'll carry him. A ver, loca.
That's not
Stretch up through there. What are you doing?
okay. Okay. Okay, guys, hold on tight. How's that looking, Santi? Good. Luca? All right, safe. It's pretty good. Uf. ¿Ya tienes sueño? Estás trabajando duro. But we should start the day. Come on.
Juguetes, juguetes, juguetes para ventas, juguetes. ¿Quieren algo de aquí? Tenemos muchos juguetes para niños. Acérquese.
Look, Santi, was that the toy you were talking about? Yeah, that's the one. I've always wanted that one. ¿Cuánto es este?
Este 25, pero para ti hoy te le voy a dar por $20.
No, Santi, we can't buy that. Eso está muy caro.
Please, Mom, please let me buy it.
This is the only one I have left.
No, señor. Muchas gracias.
Juguetes, juguetes para venta, juguetes.
Why is it that we never have the money to buy anything? Other people have a lot of things and we don't. We work all day and we're still poor.
Santi. Some people have to work harder than others to get things. Some people are born with money, some others are not. But money doesn't make you any better or worse. We work hard and have little, but we are rich in other ways.
In what ways?
Okay, listen. If you work extra hard today, and that man still has the toy by the end of the day, I'll buy it for you. But you have to work extra hard.
Okay, I promise I will. Buenas, señor, por favor, entre. Señor, por favor, entre.
Señor Ramírez.
You owe me 2 months already. And I'm tired of this.
I'm a little short right now, but I'll have the money by the end of the day, I promise.
I'm gonna give you to the end of the day. If you don't have my money by the end of the day, I'm gonna kick you out. You understand that?
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Acércase. Mire, tengo un montón de cositas lindas. Candles. This one smells really good. Would you like to try some? Here, what? Hi. Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. ¿Cómo lo puedo ayudar? Oh, las tengo. ¿Le puedo dejar 4? Hi. The candles. Oh, those are sets. So those are a little bit. Perdón. That's $3. Estos, los zapatos es para.
Hi. How much is this one?
This one, Ma, ¿cuánto es? I think she said it was like 15. Is that okay?
15? Yeah, perfect. That's work. Get ready.
Just give me 1 second so I can get my mom.
No. Hey, wait. No problem.
Here, I got the cash.
But I don't think that.
No, I gotta go. I can't wait for her. She look busy. Look. Is this okay?
Let me. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Perfect.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we can buy Mr. Obama. Ma, mira. I sold one.
Qué bueno. So what was this for?
One of those bags, the big brown one.
Santi, there's only $15 here.
What's wrong, Ma? I thought you'd be happy.
Violeta, mijo. People here pay good money for things that will last them. Than this? You can't do that. You sold it to him for 15 and it was worth 50. We needed that money today to pay rent. If we don't get that money today, they're gonna kick us out. We're gonna lose everything.
I was just trying to make extra money for the toy.
Santi, this is the real world with real problems, not like that stupid little fake toy that you won.
I was just trying to help.
And carry boxes. Make sure that people don't take stuff. Watch over your brother. Well, I'm really busy. That will really help me. Now let's sell some more so we can make up for it.
Okay.
Entonces hoy tengo papitos, tengo papitos para
Mira que si tengo, miren, tengo las figuritas, los niños, ¿no tienen para los niños?
colgadas aquí. Son buenísimas.
Oh, hi, how you doing?
Look, ¿lo puedo ayudar con algo? Tengo, miren, tengo figuritas,
Estoy
tengo
buscando algo para mi novia.
su novia, claro, mire, tengo velas.
¿Cuánto cuesta esto?
Esto se la alcanzo. Véndala al peso. Es un material de lo bueno. Me queda preciosa.
¿Sí?
Me encanta. Sí. ¿Quiere un mono cuesta? Sale $50.
Ay, no, gracias.
No, pero mire, es que la calidad es buenísima.
I will not ask.
Would you like to buy something that's going to break on you tomorrow, or would you rather spend on something that's better quality?
Sure. Hi, come. How you doing? Come on out. How you doing today, sir?
Hi, why did you come? Here,
We have a precio especial. Mira, el niño le gustó.
Uno se lo aplica y le queda.
$7.
7. Si son 4.
No, yo miré, son más baratos en otra parte.
Bueno, pero son. ¿Se lo dejo a 6?
No.
Ok, gracias, Arena, gracias. ¿Sí?
Ok, bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Joy, thank you. Have a good day.
I knew that look in your eyes always see. Was there in someone that long ago? So I will not.
Here's something. Go with look and cómprense comida.
What about your food, Ma?
Nothing wrong. You go. Vayan y cómprense comida. Vamos. Go.
Hey, that's the guy I sold that bag to earlier.
Hey, everything okay?
No, you're the man I sold that bag to earlier.
Yeah, I remember I gave you the cash. What happened?
I know, but the truth is, I sold it to you for the wrong price. That bag is 50, not 15. My mom.
Excuse me? You coming to me asking me for more money? No, kid. I already pay you, okay?
I know, but it would just be the rest of the money, 35. This was my fault. I made a mistake and now my mom is losing money for it. I just want to make it right.
Okay, I understand perfectly, but there's nothing I can do. Bye.
Sir, that bag you bought for us is made of real leather. Anyone can tell just by the touch. Here, look inside. You can tell by the quality that it's made of real leather. That bag is gonna last you a long time. You paid 15, but you know it's worth much more than the 50 I'm asking for. If you could just be fair with me on this one. I know I look young, but I'm an honest businessman. It would just be the rest of the money, 35. Ma, look! I was able to get the rest of the money for the bag.
Hijo, ¿en serio?
Look, that makes 50. I found the guy and I sold it to him. He gave me the rest.
How did you do that? Did you just give me the...
Ma, I just learned from watching you.
Disculpe, ¿cuánto cuesta?
¿Cómo le podemos ayudar?
¿Cuánto cuestan?
Señora, no se tarde más en la renta, si usted quiere mantener el lote. Claro.
Juguetes, juguetes para venta, juguetes, juguetes para venta, juguetes.
Here, Ma. I'm not gonna buy the toy. I want you to keep the money.
You don't have to do that. You earned it. Give it to me.
No, Ma. I don't want the toy. I want to give the money to you to help out.
¿En serio? You don't want it?
Ma? Where did you learn how to sell?
I learned from your abuelita.
Do you think I'll ever be as good as your abuela?
Santi, you'll be better. Anda a dormir, hijo. Anda a dormir. Mañana nos tenemos que levantar temprano.
Diosito, I know I ask you for a lot of things, but this one I really need. I know we don't have much, and I really wish we did. But I really just want to help Mom out. I don't want her to have to work so hard anymore. If you could just make me rich, then I could help her, and she wouldn't have to work so hard. I can just take care of her and Luca, and I can do all the work.
Diosito, we want to ask you that you give us life and health. But most importantly, dear Father, we want to thank you for everything that you have given us and for those who we love. Amen.
Love you, Ma.
Good night, mijo. Te amo.
Avery, hey, it's Michelle. What's it been, 3 years? I've been meaning to check in since, but I hear about the bank. Sorry, or robbing a bank currently, and I guess I'm still down as your emergency contact, which so sweet. But I think that the FBI were kind of hoping that, since you and I used to be besties, that I could negotiate the release of those hostages. Sorry, that sounded so weird when I said that. There's no good way to say that. Yeah, anyway, what have you been up to? Other than, yeah. Avery Munson, robber of banks? This is wild, dude. Avery and I grew up together. Imagine if Principal Wilson saw this. We knew all the same people. OMG, we haven't talked about Josh's wedding. We did everything together. The cake looked horrible. Same high school, same college. First of all, I want you to know I'm not mad. We rushed the same sorority. I am a little mad you're robbing a bank without me. I mean, what happened to Kappa? Girls don't clap alone. Kappa was where things kind of... Do you ever think about what happened on the Get Shrexy formal committee? It was a Shrek-themed formal dance. I think about it. Get Shrexy? Nothing? A lot. S as in Shrek. H. R. I told you no one eats food with those things, but you had to go and spend our entire budget on gingerbread just so you could impress Amanda freaking Katie? Rivalry? No. I mean, Amanda and I were just different people. Sorry, I don't know anything about Korean beauty products! Amanda was our sorority president. Avery, loved her. By the way, where did you even get a gun? Did Amanda give you one? Amanda kicked us out of the sorority for going over budget. Avery and I got in a huge fight over it. Things actually ended pretty bad between us. Are those vests bulletproof? I mean, look at us. She destroyed both of our lives. In slightly different ways. These are pocket pretzels. Saves me reaching for the bag. A really good pocket full of flavor. Do you want one? Here, take two. Yeah, I can't help but notice the FBI didn't call Amanda Kagi to your little hostage situation. It's nice to know I'm still your emergency contact. You're mine too. I actually had a dream about this happening. It did not go well. I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm kind kind of glad you robbed a bank and took a bunch of people hostage. Gave us a chance to... I guess what I'm really trying to say here was... It's hard when you spend your whole life relying on someone. Then they go and find someone else to rely on instead. Someone better. It sucks to lose your person like that. You should do crazy things, believe me. I know. I eat a bowl of Fruity Pebbles for 4 meals a day. And yes, there are 4 meals a day. I just wish... I wish I was in there robbing that bank with you. Are you even...
Michelle.
Hi, my name is Aura. I was named after a famous NASA mission.
We have liftoff of NASA's Aura spacecraft on a mission to protect the air we breathe.
I love space. I'm gonna be an astronaut when I grow up.
Ignition sequence start.
Kids at school say I'm weird because I watch space on TV instead of cartoons. Space is way cooler. Mi abuelita wants me to be a singer. Somewhere through the small clouds, skies are clear. In my dream, a fresh air will finally be here. She says my dreams are too big. Space is for men, she says. That doesn't stop me from telling her about my hero, Miss Ellen Ochoa, the first Latina ever in space. Every Sunday, Abuelita takes me to the park. There's a lighthouse there. I think it's really an old spaceship. I swear.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I know Abuelita supports me, even though she rolls her eyes and laughs. This is my favorite part. I know today is the day. I prayed. I asked Papa Noel. Even Abuelita thinks so.
Terminal count, Atlas systems, propulsion, go. Hydraulic, go. Mission manager. Mission manager is go.
Thank you, ma'am. LMP, VHF, increase a little bit. Okay, the 25 minutes going to forward. You're the launch team, which is your good luck and Godspeed.
This is it. She's beautiful.
Network, get it in, get it off. 564, sir.
LC, this is the LD on channel 1. LC, you have permission to launch.
T-minus
5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Liftoff!
Give more power to the people. I say, give more power to the people. Cut was trying to see who's got the power to kill them all. When they run out of power, the world's gonna be exposed. They know we're not.
What's that?
Are these? Tampons.
In broad daylight?
Dad, it's natural. And look, they even come in cute little packaging now.
You play too much. Got a sense of humor like your mama, you know that?
Yeah, I've been told.
So, kick with your pops over a latte?
It's a lot of sugar. It's rather not.
You know, I remember when you used to be the girl who loved sugar. Now the girl who loved to dance. Now we just don't talk like we used to. Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. Just school is hard and I'm not a little girl anymore.
Hell, you cherish these times while you can, while they're still here. Oh, I wish I was your age again. No real responsibilities, just my innocence and naivety. You know? Okay.
Up. Up.
My life is over.
It's gonna be okay. You're like my Harriet Tubman.
You say the most messed up stuff sometimes, but I got you. The realest best friends for life?
The realest best friends for life. Okay. What are we waiting for?
Promise you won't get mad.
Minority getting all of the funds. Majority barely keeping it up. Minorities keeping all the degrees. Starting a corporation agreed. Majority never learning to eat. You like nothing but chicken burgers and cheese. You like minority living all on the coast. You like sporting the latest sneakers and clothes. You like majority barely saving a dime. Work the majority of their life. What? Minority passing down all the wealth. Majority keeping it for themselves. Minority always getting the guap. What do
You know I don't like people in my business.
Okay, well, I didn't think it was that big of a deal since we all grew up together and you both are going through the same thing.
It's not the same. She's not my friend, Jessica.
Okay, well, first of all, don't yell at me.
I can yell at you if I want because why did you put...
What's not the same?
Like, no offense, but nobody else knows my business except Jessica.
You realize everyone knows about your abortion, right?
How does everyone know about that?
Okay, well, my little brother heard us talking about it, and then he told his friends, which included Dylan's little brother, and then he told Dylan.
And he kind of told the entire Black Science Club.
And let me guess, it's spread like a Santa Monica wildfire. What if this gets back to my parents?
Okay, well, so what if everyone knows? I mean, no one has proof.
Look, my situation is like completely different than yours, so I don't even know if this means anything to you. But every single time I heard that rumor, I did try to shut it down.
Love ya. Where am I supposed to take this? Absolutely not.
I mean, if you want, I could hold my flannel and cover you from the side.
Yeah, duh.
See that side. See, it totally works.
I can't do this. I can't do this.
What's the problem?
This is disgusting. Okay, I'll take my chances using the bathroom. Just wait for me here.
Fine.
How far are you?
This beautiful king is actually 7 months. Do you have any regrets?
Maybe not telling my family.
You did the right thing there. It was pretty hard on my parents. What?
Funny part is my dad still thinks I'm a virgin.
How? It's impossible.
I don't know. I don't know. When did you tell your mom?
Last week.
Oh.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Damn.
It's the first time I've talked about it since the procedure. It's totally okay. It really sucks going through this alone.
I didn't. No one saw me.
It was fast.
Now we wait. 3 minutes.
Set a timer.
What was it like?
What was what like?
I mean, I want to know what it feels like to be pregnant.
Get your results first.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
I just want to be prepared.
Okay. Do you want to keep it?
I don't even want to think about that yet, please.
Your favorite jeans start to stop fitting, can't wear crop tops. Oh, you definitely could lose your baby hairs.
Hey, stop, you're gonna freak her out. Hey, breathe. Breathe.
I had the perfect cycle. How could I have let this happen?
Technically, it's still like possible.
My mom and I just picked out my dress for prom court. When I tried it on, she cried and called me her baby. And my family is going to Disneyland for Christmas. And It's a Small World is still my favorite ride. What happens if What happens if I'm pregnant? Hey. I gotta toughen up.
Hey. Come with me. Sit. Look, your life is going to change no matter the results. I wish I would have taken a moment to realize how fun and simple life was before my mistakes caught up with me. I can get those moments back. So, let's take advantage of the moment we have now. Together. Hey Google, play Dad's old school playlist.
Playing Dad's old school playlist.
Come on!
Goodness gracious. Whatever happens, I got choices, right?
Set my soul on fire. Don't you know that I'll never be the same? No, don't you know that my life is in your name? Girl, I really, really hate to lose you. I just gotta keep on moving. 'Cause I'm so tired, 'cause you set my soul on fire. I'm so tired. Well, you set my soul on fire. I don't wanna tell me so. I don't wanna tell me so. We're all do a doom ball, 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 a doom ball.